Meanwhile, Kaohsiung Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan organized a blessing ceremony to tend to residents affected by the recent blast. An a cappella group from Taiwan has charity concerts in Malaysia to help raise funds for the new Tzu Chi dialysis center and education center. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. Following the series of underground gas explosion in Kaohsiung, Taiwan on July 31st, rescue workers immediately rushed to the scenes of the explosions to help battle several fires. Joining firefighters in the rescue efforts were several local residents. Next to me, Chen Yingchen and volunteer firefighter Tao Tingzhou, who through their selfless acts of courage have saved many lives.
Volunteers gave Tao Tingzhou's wife a massage to help relieve her of some of the stress and anxiety. Since her husband was hospitalized, Tao's wife has remained outside the ICU, praying hard for his life. Volunteers have been by her side to offer comfort and support. 46-year-old Tao is the owner of a car repair shop and also a volunteer firefighter with more than 1,000 hours of services logged. Tao was on his way to the scene of the blast late last Thursday when he was caught in an explosion. He suffered severe head injuries and internal bleeding and fell into a coma.
He is always willing to step forward and take action and was always the first to arrive.
We hope everyone can show their support and cheer for him. We hope he will pull through this crisis.
As Tao is still fighting for his life in ICU, his fellow firefighters all wish him a speedy recovery.
加油呢！
就啊，加油啊！
大家恁等你咯哈，加油！
就啊，加油！就啊，阮等你加油啊！
赶快好起来，
你一定要好起来，
要加油！
加油！
加油！加油！ I'm filled with mixed emotions. I feel like had I not told them about the propylene leak, maybe they wouldn't have gone to check it out, and perhaps they wouldn't have lost their lives.
Chen Yingchen blames himself for calling on the borrowhead to check out the gas leak that eventually cost him his life.
When we realized there was a gas leak, Chen rushed door to door to warn everyone to evacuate.
The series of explosions caused residents to flee their homes in a panic. While helping others escape, Chen himself was caught in the blast. Although injured, Chen presses forward to save people trapped under the rubble.
My mind went blank. I heard someone yelling, "Help me! Help me!" When I went up ahead, I saw two rescue workers that had been trapped under the rubble. I pulled them out along with two others, one with a fractured leg, the other a fractured arm.
Flowers have been placed at the scene of the accident to honor rescue workers who sacrificed their lives through their selfless acts of courage.
To comfort communities in Kaohsiung caught up in last week's horrible explosions, the Tzu Chi Foundation has organized a blessing ceremony at Zhongzhen Industrial High School this past Sunday. More than 1,000 residents came to pray together and put their fears and worries at ease. The next day, 6 Dharma masters from Jingsi Abode also visited blast victims in hospitals to deliver Master Zheng Yan's blessings.
Tzu Chi volunteers line up at the entrance of Zhongzhen Industrial High School to welcome those participating in the blessing ceremony in memorial of the recent Kaohsiung gas explosions.
The ceremony helps us feel at peace. It has a wonderful effect on society as a whole. Everyone is so kind-hearted. I believe we will soon recover and begin to rebuild.
DaAi TV and Master Zheng Yan, I like them both very much, because the Master speaks in a very soothing manner.
The pain, the suffering, and the fear since the tragedy have now been pacified by prayers. Though rebuilding will be a long process, with everyone's love and support, the victims will have the courage and strength to make a full recovery. Standing as one with the victims, Tzu Chi volunteers will be there till the end and help them see things through.
I am now in Kaohsiung. The master has asked the Performers Association to come help with the blessing ceremony.
To ensure the success of the blessing ceremony, all volunteers were mobilized, including those from Tzu Chi Performers Association.
We sincerely offer our praise. Go Kaohsiung!
I'm very happy and grateful for this opportunity. Before, I didn't know what I could do to help. Thankfully, Tzu Chi has provided us with this opportunity.
We hope the blessing ceremony will be a success and help ease the troubled hearts of residents here.
Volunteers have also prepared 1,500 gifts of love for those attending the event, which were put together meticulously.
The characters Fortune and Wisdom are facing to the front so to look nicer. We even tied a bow knot on each.
Paying attention to every detail, volunteers want to pass on their love to the victims. The day after the ceremony, Dharma masters from Jingsi Abode visit blast victims in hospitals to deliver the master's blessings. Mr. Chen's son, a firefighter, was at the front line when the explosions occurred and suffered serious injuries as a result.
Of course, my heart aches for him, but it was his duty, so I think it was worth it.
These parents still fully support and respect their children for taking on such a dangerous job. We also thank these police officers and firefighters, for they are truly bodhisattvas.
Mr. Wu suffered a broken arm when he and his scooter were thrown into a pit by an explosion. Surrounded by flame, he climbed his way out and was rescued. Now his wife wants him to join her in volunteering. This young man suffered burn injuries to his limbs but is surrounded by loved ones. While consoling the victims, the Dharma masters also teach them to learn from this incident.
We must learn to cope with life's impermanence. We must learn to seize every moment to do good deeds and honor our parents.
Passing out beads of blessings, the Dharma masters wish to thank emergency workers for their efforts and the public for its outpouring of love. By cherishing our blessings and practicing good deeds, we can all help ease suffering with love.
Taiwan suffered a series of devastating blows in the space of a week, with the plane crash in Penghu followed by a series of underground explosions in Kaohsiung. As a nation known for its compassion, however, Taiwanese are not giving up hope. In a recent blessing ceremony held in Taoyuan, 1,600 people representing 6 different religions gathered to pray for the future and safety of Taiwan and its citizens.
请默哀。
Recently, 1,600 people representing 6 religious faiths gathered to show their unwavering support for the victims of Taiwan's recent accidents. Compassion fell in the air in front of the Taoyuan County Government Building, with Christian hymns and blessings and prayers from Buddhist organizations.
The gas explosions were a huge disaster. Everyone is very upset and can empathize with what the victims are going through. Taoyuan and Kaohsiung are like brothers. Therefore, we want to do something for Kaohsiung.
Compassion is much needed after the string of tragic events, as residents of Taoyuan and various groups gather to express their support.
Through this activity, we hope to work with other religions in Taiwan to pray together and to strive hard for this beautiful island.
We are doing this for the victims. We are praying for their good fortune and the safety of Taiwan.
With no regard to differences in faith, we have all come together. This is a rare opportunity.
In the name of love, Taiwanese of different faiths have come together to offer hope and peace.
In the aftermath of the gas explosions in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers immediately moved out, established a service center. At the center, team of doctors are on hand to provide medical consultation, while volunteers are there to provide emotional support.
Paying attention to detail, team of Dr. Lin Rongzong has served in numerous free clinics before. However, this time, the free clinic isn't in a remote village, but in a city. In the wake of the gas explosions in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, Dr. Lin and the rest of the team of doctors arrived at a service center, ready to help.
For example, if patients suffer from sudden fever or headache or insomnia from the trauma, we can see if we can give them some medicine or provide other types of care.
With team members and other volunteers offering their assistance, the service center has become a mini health station.
Those who are badly injured or hurt have been transported to the hospitals. For those left behind, we can pay personal attention to their needs. We can reach out to the communities to offer our support.
Team of doctors and medical volunteers not only watch over local residents' health, but also serves as a pillar of support in this emotional time.
In response to the 6.1 magnitude earthquake that rocked Yunnan, China, Tzu Chi volunteers in Kunming have been readying themselves and supplies while gathering the latest information to ensure a safe and effective distribution. Meanwhile, volunteers in Kunshan were invited by a local counseling association to offer their expertise on emotional support in the aftermath of a tragic accident.
Here in China, those affected by the August 2nd industrial accident at a Taiwanese-owned factory are finding temporary shelter at the Kunshan Convention and Exhibition Center. While waiting for further updates, local charity organizations were asked to offer their assistance. Among them was Tzu Chi.
They knew that Tzu Chi volunteers have experience in caring for those suffering from traumatic events, so they invited us today to help provide emotional support.
Knowing everyone deals with sorrow in their own way, without intruding, volunteers provide water and care. Meanwhile, in the aftermath of the recent Yunnan earthquake, Kunming Tzu Chi volunteers are preparing to offer assistance.
We have been gathering information like the latest road conditions, contacting friends in that area, reading up on the latest updates and such. We want to have all the details worked out before conducting a meeting on our next step. Our main concern is transportation because Longtongshan Township is at a lower level than Kunming, so there is a small dam that we must climb over before we can get into the disaster zone.
The disaster site is only 300 meters away from Kunming, but with days of torrential rain, road conditions are not ideal. Tzu Chi volunteers continue to keep updated as they wait for the opportunity to bring help to the region.
In Malaysia, Tzu Chi volunteers have continued to raise funds for the new Tzu Chi Dialysis Center and Education Center. Recently, with the help of famous Taiwanese musician Li Shouquan, an a cappella group from Taiwan arrived in the country to hold 28 charity concerts. Songs with a cheerful melody. Famous songs known by many. And popular Cantonese songs liked by Cantonese speakers. Despite singing without instrumental accompaniment, the singers' voices still touch those in the audience.
The singers are about our children's ages. We are from a different generation, so it is really amazing that their performance resonated with us.
To raise funds for Tzu Chi's dialysis center and education center in Malaysia, Vox a cappella group from Taiwan decided to hold charity concerts around the country. Prior to the concert, local volunteers mobilized to create a welcoming atmosphere for participants. Despite the event being held at a hotel, volunteers still made it a point to incorporate Tzu Chi's values into the decorations.
We need to support this event because we are building our home, a home for all Tzu Chi volunteers.
This is a great chance for us to cultivate a few blessings and create good affinity with one another. This is something we need to continue doing.
This is Taiwanese musician Li Shouquan, the key figure behind the charity concerts. The relationship between Li and Malaysia Tzu Chi volunteers began 12 years ago when he first performed at the Penang Jingsi Books and Cafe. Now, 12 years later, Li Shouquan, along with 6 other capella singers, are here to use their voices to raise funds for Tzu Chi. Li says the local volunteers' determination to shoulder Tzu Chi's missions has inspired him to contribute his share.
All the Penang Tzu Chi brothers and sisters kneel down to listen to a clip of Master Zeng Yan's talk. I was extremely touched by their gesture.
Back then, Li traveled to Malaysia to promote DaAi TV and in the process gained a better understanding of Tzu Chi's efforts in the country. Inspired by volunteers' dedication, Li decided to help by hosting charity concerts on Tzu Chi's behalf.
Everyone should be in a good mood after attending this concert. This event can inspire those in the audience to contribute their love. I think it's a great start.
Thanks to Li's help, in a month's time, a total of 28 concerts will be held at 9 different locations throughout Malaysia, thus inspire more people to contribute to a good cause. We have more report on the charity concert in Malaysia. Next, we meet Tzu Chi volunteer Huang Bihua and Huang Mulian, who dedicated themselves to ensure the smooth running of the concert.
在苦难中张扬慈悲，在变数中考验智慧，在艰难中。
An a cappella group enchants the audience with their voices. Here in Penang for the first stop of its fundraising tour, Tzu Chi's A Night of Great Love would not have been complete without the help of countless volunteers working behind the scenes.
It was not the work of a single person. This benefit concert was successful thanks to the entire team of Tzu Chi brothers and sisters.
Seeing Huang Bihua's humble demeanor, it's hard to imagine she mostly nagged and complained in the past. Meeting Tzu Chi through a friend, Huang's life was transformed. Through Tzu Chi's sponsored home visitations to the poor, Huang found contentment and now understands how to share her blessings with others.
The master says we need to recruit more people to join our ranks because everyone has the ability to give, and we need to share our love with others.
Another behind-the-scenes volunteer is Huang Mulian, who resumed eating meat after abstaining for 108 days during her participation in the musical adaptation of the Sutra of Innumerable Meanings, only to find that her body rejected the diet.
Trying to eat seafood or meat, I'd vomited back up. I knew then I was doing something wrong. I repented and immediately vowed to become a vegetarian.
As they assist with this month's fundraising tour, volunteers working behind the scenes look forward to gaining more experiences and wisdom to add to their own great sutra treasury.
In Malaysia, on July 29, a fire broke out at Gantisan, an impoverished village in Kota Kinabalu, leaving 200 villagers homeless. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers brought consolation cash to help survivors rebuild their lives.
Here in Gentinsan village of Kota Kinabalu, 30 wooden stilt homes have been charred to the ground in a fire which broke out during the Eid al-Fitr celebrations. 200 villagers are now without roofs over their heads.
When I found out that my house was on fire, I was in a state of panic because my child was taking a nap at home at the time. My family told me my child was safe and sound, but my house was burned to the ground.
It doesn't matter that our belongings were destroyed. We can always make more money later. What's important is that the kids are okay.
Upon learning of the fire, volunteers immediately mobilized to care for the villagers. Volunteers offered comfort to the family of a villager who died while trying to rescue another fellow villager.
I am already upset that I lost my home and belongings, but learning that a family member lost his life while trying to help others just breaks my heart.
Volunteers returned to the village the following day to distribute consolation cash. The song "We Are One Family" brings tears to the villagers' faces, but a loving embrace soothes distressed hearts.
If they let out their emotions, it's okay. If he needs someone to listen to, we will lend him an ear. We are putting ourselves in their shoes.
Upon receiving consolation cash from the Tzu Chi volunteers, the villagers' faces light up with smiles.
We will use this money for our children's tuition. We also need money to cover our rent and car loans. I'm truly grateful for this help.
Tzu Chi's distribution has been very orderly. They handed the consolation cash to our villagers with sincere respect. All humanitarian groups have the same goal, but Tzu Chi does things differently.
Realizing that they too have the power to do great deeds, villagers donate their change into the coin bank to continue the cycle of love.
Next, we go to Swaziland, where volunteers held 10 winter aid distributions in poor communities to prepare needy residents for the cold winter months. To make sure each distribution went off without a hitch, Durban Tzu Chi volunteers from South Africa traveled to Swaziland to help their counterparts. And thanks to Tzu Chi's help, many poor families finally have the means to brave the harsh winter.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Despite the freezing morning temperatures, local volunteers are still out and about distributing supplies to needy residents. Upon seeing senior residents and those with limited mobility, Tzu Chi volunteers thoughtfully deliver rice into their hands. Besides handing out rice, volunteers also seized the opportunity following the distribution to gain a better understanding of the lives of residents here. Although having to carry out 10 winter aid distributions in 5 days, no one complains. To strengthen their determination prior to each distribution, volunteers tune in to Master Jin Yin's wisdom at dawn broadcast. Besides local volunteers, Durban Tzu Chi volunteers from South Africa are also here to contribute their love, bring aid and warmth to countless underprivileged residents in Swaziland. Thanks to volunteers' compassion and efforts, many needy families in Swaziland now have the means to brave the harsh winter ahead. We go to the United States St. Dimas at the end of the show. To celebrate the Tzu Chi's birthday, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at the local park to promote their campaign on introducing Jingzi aphorisms to prisoners. Touched by the NGO's philosophy, 13 people purchased 113 Jingzi aphorisms booklets, which will be donated to prisoners in the future. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.